Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen Washington. This is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. I would like to extend my gratitude in you listening to this podcast. It means everything to me, and I hope it is clear that this subject matter is so important to me. I care about our people, our future, and making a positive change in this nation. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. On this episode, I want to talk about a theory called the missing white woman syndrome. And I also want to talk about the Jelani Day case as it relates to this theory. So, missing white woman syndrome, this phrase or theory was coined by the late journalist Gwen Ifill in 2004 during a journalism conference. And basically, she used this phrase to describe the disparity in media coverage for African Americans versus white women. And specifically during the time they were comparing coverage of Rwanda, and I think the comparison was Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding at the time. And so over the years, the term stuck, and journalists have related and recalled this term over the years. And so we are hearing that term again, this missing white woman syndrome, being recalled quite a bit lately in the news with the coverage of the Gabby Petito case. Now, I want to share this that was written by journalist Charles Blow, who writes for the New York Times, very well put regarding the matter. And it pretty much sums up how it should be. It's not that these white women should matter less, but rather that all missing people should matter equally. Race should not determine how newsroom leaders assign coverage, especially because those decisions often lead to disproportionate allocation of government resources as investigators try to solve the highest profile cases. Advocates and families of color express that disparate news coverage signals that their loved ones' lives don't matter as much as the lives of white women, which they believe then discourages police from pouring resources to pursue their cases. Very interesting. I mean, so there's definitely a correlation to the news coverage that the case is getting to the coverage and attention that the case is getting, or police activity and resources that the case is getting. So we didn't think about that correlation, which is very significant, and that makes the family feel horrible. You know, the case is not getting attention in the media, and so who's actually working the case? Who's out there in the field asking questions and investigating? So, yeah, that's another disparity that is significant and troubling in cases of people of color. Here's another interesting fact. This comes from the Guardian.com. Black people constitute 13% of the U.S. population and 31% of missing persons. 54% of missing persons are white, and white people make up 76% of the population. And so that reflects how great the disparity is. So we know that there's a disparity. But why is there a disparity? There's a news article on thehill.com that calls that question, and it's entitled Missing White Woman Syndrome Goes Beyond Media Coverage. So this article boldly names the contributing factors of why white women garner so much more media attention than their Black, Latino, Indigenous, and Asian counterparts. And so, one is the ideology of white supremacy. It basically states that the white individual is superior and the person of color is marginalized and symbolically annihilated. And so that is a huge contributing factor for the lack of attention in the media, according to thehill.com. They mentioned that the white women are humanized, that we see them as individuals with real lives and real loved ones, and that the same subjectivity is not granted to missing people of color. For example, Shalani Day. This was the African American graduate student who went missing, and recently we learned was deceased, but he was missing for an entire month before his family learned of his passing. The media is now discussing that there is a potential person of interest that his family is stating could have been questioned and investigated earlier on while he was still missing, and possibly could have changed the results of this matter, because it looks like there was foul play in his case, and there's just so many unanswered questions, and his family deserves to have those questions answered for their closure. The article also mentions beauty ideals and beauty standards as additional contributing factors. As far as a solution, they reference a reset of these ideologies. Will that happen? Probably not anytime soon, but we can start with each other. Word of mouth is definitely very powerful, and we can also rely on our African American media sources. There are few, but they are powerful, and we need to utilize them. They are out there and they need to be utilized. And so let's support them. All right. So that's all that I have to share for today. I appreciate you listening to my episode, and we will be back with more to share. Thank you guys for listening. Take care.
At this time, we are going to go ahead and conclude this episode. We do appreciate you listening. We do invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. The Gmail is wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And we are available on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Please go out and follow us, share, leave a review, tell a friend, and every time you listen, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you again, and take care.